Greetings, YouStormer. It is the 27th of April, 2024, and we are back for a video for the first time in many, many months. And I'm in a new room, and I think there's an echo. Let's take a look at our friends in the United States, and it is nighttime in the US, and we have some thunderstorms going on. We've got thunderstorms in Arkansas, we've got thunderstorms in Arizona here, looks like they're near Phoenix, and then up in Iowa, also some more thunderstorms. I think that these ones down to the south are the severe thunderstorms. I'll check the Storms Prediction Center in a moment. And you can see that area is coming up off the Gulf and feeding into those thunderstorms. Well, first of all, earlier today, it looks like there were some significant tornadoes in Nebraska and into Iowa. And we also had, looks like a long track supercell with a tornado in Kansas. And then also a very long looking storm moving out of Texas up into Arkansas. It looks like the Nebraska tornadoes were first getting reported all the way back at 1728 UTC, but I'm going to focus in on the 2000 UTC, and I'm going to try and do some satellite loops, see how it looks, and then maybe extend it forward. To do this, let's zoom in on Nebraska, and then we're going to have to jump back in time. My internet connection isn't brilliant, so I'm going to have to sort of chop some bits out here. Basically, we want to set up the begin date to be back on the 26th, and let's take it back to, I guess I'll start at 1940 UTC, and then the end, oh dear, get rid of that, and the end time 26, oh god, look at it. Right, 26 at 21. We'll just do 1 hour. That took a bit of time to load, but here are the severe thunderstorms that were producing tornadoes during this period, and it must be these ones in here, and you can see how they're quite close to the center of the low pressure. You can see it spinning around quite nicely. This is the outline of Nebraska, and then that's the border with Iowa, so these storms were heading off into Iowa. So yeah, lots of lightning and supercells presumably embedded within these convective lines. If we jump back to the 24th of April, the strong southwesterly winds were tucking all the way down into Mexico, and that fired up these fires big time. And we had a whole bunch of fires that went really, really intensely active. But not all of these plumes are fires. The one on the northern side is actually a dust plume from a dry lake. The fire plumes were also seen in the fire temperature product on RAMMB, seen here. I may have said 24th of April, I would have meant 25th of April, and if we look at the Terra Modis, you can just see a few of the fire plumes in the morning, and then if we switch to the afternoon when the Aqua Modis satellite went over, then, well, you can see how much it's juiced up, and actually even up further to the north it looks like there's a lot of dust coming off lakes. This is off a dry lake bed, and then these are the fires. So let's take a closer look at this. Going in, yeah, I think well, you see the high resolution satellite imagery, Sentinel-2 will have been in the morning, so it won't have seen the really active period, but let's check it out anyway. Let's just take a quick note that the lake that is bringing off the most, picking up the most of the dust coming off it is the Laguna de Babicora. To check the higher resolution satellite imagery, I'm switching over to EO Browser, and if you don't know about EO Browser, it's completely free, so you can view the satellite imagery. You can become a member, log in to get more advanced options, but you don't need to do that for just seeing basic satellite imagery. So I'm moving over to Mexico, and we want to check Sentinel-2. You know what? I'm going to check the Landsat 8-9 as well. That's the other high-res satellite that they have in the options here. And I think we were over, you know, we're looking at Laguna de Babicas or something. Let's just see what pops up. All right. So when we load it up, we've got a bunch of stuff for the 26th, but we want the 25th. Let's scroll down to the 25th. So I'm too lazy to change the dates. So I'm just going to load more and keep on scrolling down. We get down to the 25th. So this is the Sentinel-2 imagery for the 25th. And let's see what we got here. So there's a pass over to the west, to the east, over, yeah, over heading into Texas. And then we've got one that's too far to the west, but actually does pick up a fire quite nicely. So let's load this up and take a look at it. Now this is another fire. This is not a fire that was in that original loop, and it's stalling, so I'm going to pause. So I've let it load up, and now we can see the real beautiful detail of this really nasty looking fire that is spreading at this time. Must have been spreading very, very rapidly. And if I switch over to the false color urban, then you get to see the heat signatures. You can see a really strong heat signature from this fire as it's spreading up in this direction towards the northeast. And this is a look at the Wildfire product, which is one of the options you get in your browser. And that shows the heat signature and the plume spreading off at the same time. So I feel like I checked the other day, and I did have something from those, from the lake bed, and so I think, what can it be? Oh, you know what it was? It was the Sentinel-3, and that is a little bit coarser resolution. Now there's another fire up there to the north. So yeah, let's take a look at that Sentinel-3. No, my memory is failing me, and now, no, it is in fact good news. The Landsat did get a pass in the morning, and so the fires weren't big at this time, but you can definitely see the fire. And not only that, well, let's take a look at some of the fires down here. You can see them just getting started in the Landsat imagery. I'll let it load. There we go, it's loaded at resolution of highness. And then the thing is that that's one of the fires that got going really crazy, and then there's another one here that picked up later in the day. So this is before they really went crazy, as we saw in the previous animation. But if we go north, and if we go north, that's what I'm going to do right now, but it's going to take time to load, so I'm going to stop this. Yep, going north. So down here is the fire, and then to the north you'll see a area of, you can see dust starting to come off this area. I'm going to go right in and let it load. It's a bit of a bummer that we don't get the afternoon look, but even in the morning you can see the dust plumes coming off quite intensely off some of these areas. Now, what was the name of that dry lake? Laguna de Babic something. All right, so I think that's what this is. Yeah, Babicor. Laguna de Babicor. So that is the start of that big dust plume that we saw to the north of the fires. So I guess you just got to kind of use your imagination. That's the same lake we were just looking at, but this is several hours later in the Aquamodus, and so you can imagine what it must have looked like in the high res from space. And then those are the fires down below.